Yo, America, let's talk about energy inflation and why your wallet's feeling lighter than a politician's promise. It's not just about the gas you put in your car, it's about the ripple effects that touch every part of your life. See, when energy costs skyrocket, it's like a domino effect on everything. From the food you eat to the clothes you wear, everything gets hit. Gas prices go up, transportation costs rise, and suddenly, that avocado toast you love, bam, more expensive. Even the simplest pleasures become luxuries. It's basic economics, people. Higher energy costs ripple through the economy, making it pricier to produce and transport goods. Factories, trucks, ships, they all need energy. This leads to, you guessed it, inflation. Prices rise everywhere, from grocery stores to your favorite cafe, and nobody wins in that game. Families feel the pinch and stress levels go through the roof. Now politicians on both sides of the aisle are pointing fingers, blaming each other's policies for this energy chaos. It's a blame game with no clear winner. It's like a reality show, but with higher stakes. The decisions made today will impact our future, and everyone is watching closely. On the Republican side, it's all about American energy dominance. They envision a future where the US is the leading energy producer in the world, harnessing its vast natural resources. Think of it like a superhero movie, but instead of capes, they're waving American flags and oil rigs. It's a vision of power and independence, with energy workers as the unsung heroes. Their argument, America has vast energy resources and we need to unleash them. They believe tapping into these resources will secure the nation's energy future. They're calling for less government intervention, fewer regulations, and a focus on boosting domestic energy production. They argue that government red tape is holding back progress. Basically, they want to turn on the taps and let the oil and gas flow freely. This means more drilling, more pipelines, and more refineries. They argue that this will lower energy costs, create jobs, and make America less reliant on foreign energy sources. It's a vision of economic growth and national security. Sounds good on paper, right? But hold your horses, because not everyone's convinced. Critics worry about the environmental impact and the long-term sustainability of such an approach. Republicans are taking their fight to Congress, armed with a powerful tool, the Congressional Review Act, or CRA. This act, which was passed in 1996, gives Congress the ability to review and potentially overturn regulations issued by federal agencies. Think of it like a legislative eraser, allowing Congress to overturn certain regulations put in place by the executive branch. It's a way for lawmakers to ensure that the rules align with their policy goals and the interests of their constituents. They're targeting regulations they believe are hindering energy production, like those pesky environmental rules. These rules, they argue, are stifling economic growth and making it harder for the energy sector to thrive. Senators like John Kennedy and John Hoeven are leading the charge. They're vocal about their concerns and are pushing hard to roll back what they see as overreach by regulatory agencies. Senator Kennedy's fired up about a rule requiring new surveys for drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, even though we've already mapped the ocean floor like 1,000 times. He believes these redundant surveys are unnecessary and only serve to delay important energy projects. He's calling it a waste of time and money that's driving up costs for everyone. According to him, these costs are eventually passed down to consumers, making energy more expensive for everyday Americans. Meanwhile, Senator Hoeven's got his sights set on the Inflation Reduction Act, claiming it's actually increasing energy costs, especially for low-income families. He argues that the Act's provisions are counterproductive and hurt the very people they are supposed to help. He wants to see it gone, like yesterday's news. For him, eliminating these regulations is a step towards reducing the financial burden on American families and fostering a more favorable environment for energy production. So, who's right? It's complicated, folks. On one hand, boosting domestic energy production could lead to lower prices and greater energy independence. But critics argue that deregulation could have negative environmental consequences and benefit big oil companies at the expense of everyday Americans. It's a classic dilemma, balancing economic growth with environmental protection. And finding that sweet spot is proving trickier than a game of four-dimensional chess. One thing's for sure, this energy crisis isn't going away anytime soon, and until we find a solution that works for everyone, we're all going to feel the pinch. So buckle up, America, it's going to be a bumpy ride.